Welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. Everybody, thank you for joining today um, as we head down this journey of easy to love, difficult to discipline, right? We all struggle with that a little bit, but Dr. Bailey offers 7 skills for turning conflict into cooperation. So that's what we've been kind of journeying through the last few months is this book and how to help us help ourselves as we parent, as we teach, and as we model for those children, those not even children, those teenagers, right, that are in our midst, right, that we have, that we're the adult in their life, right? And so we've been talking a lot about intent, and we've been talking about teaching right from wrong, which is what we talked about last week, right? And so today we're going to talk about consequences. Many of you have heard me talk about natural consequences, right? And people are like, what are natural consequences? And, you know, often our consequences come quite naturally, right? If we walk out and it starts to rain and we don't have a raincoat, we get wet. If we touch the stove, we get burned, right? Those are very natural consequences, right? And they happen without anyone else, no parents, no teachers, intervening with anything, right? However, we don't tie our shoes, or if we treat our friends poorly, right, that may result in falling, right, or being friendless, right, because of personal choices and how we interacted with the environment, right? So sometimes as adults we say, if you don't tie your shoes, you will fall. Or if you don't eat your vegetables, you will be unhealthy, right? We stick that will in there, right? Which kind of sounds like a warning, right, to children. And I'm not saying that children don't need warnings at some points in their life, but when we're trying to teach them about consequences, right, when we say will, right, tie your shoes or you will fall, the fact of the matter is they may not fall and they may not be unhealthy, right? And so what we're saying to children is, number one, adults are all knowing and we can predict the future. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah, we can't, right? And we're teaching the children we must listen to them and depend on them, right? It kind of reminds me of the Ophelia syndrome, right? Where Polonius is telling Ophelia, just open up your mouth. I'll tell you all those things that you need to know, right? The other thing that we're teaching children is that they have no control over the events in their life. When we say this will happen, right? It's kind of like using always and never, right? I try not to use those with children because, even in relationships, right? You always do this to me. Really? I don't think always is right. And so a lot of marriage therapists talk to us about not using those 2 words. All right, so if children internalize these beliefs, right, we've talked about that internal CD Rom that is built, right? We've learned this pattern. They grow into adults who give their power away to others. They feel victimized by life and they shed responsibility if they can, right? And so as we think about consequences and helping our children, our teenagers, anybody that we're working with, right? We can help them, right? Not be victimized by life, not shedding responsibility, and not giving their power away to others. So lucky for us, natural consequences offer very powerful learning experiences, right? Learning opportunities. So if we don't pay our taxes, right, there are prescribed penalties. If a child decides not to eat dinner, they may feel hunger before the next meal, right? So there's again that natural piece of it, right? But these are a little bit, these step into a new category called imposed consequences, right? So if I don't pay my taxes, it's not like touching a stove, right? Not immediate. It's not like getting rained on, immediate, but they're imposed ones, things that have been set up, right? They arise because of pre-established codes of conduct. So they come from limits that are set beforehand. So basically, the children have been taught to behave in situations and if they don't, then there's consequences based on those poor choices, right? So from the classroom, sometimes we'll have children who don't want to come inside for after recess. We're ringing the bell, and they're like, "Oh, I just want to go down the slide one more time. Oh, I'm not ready to go inside. Oh, I don't like it inside. I want to stay outside," right? So we talk to them before we go out. Not every day, but we talk about when you hear the bell, remember what you're supposed to do. Yeah, pick up 2 toys and come inside. That's right, right? So when we have children that don't, as I'm working with the teachers, one of the things that they say is, remember, our job is to go inside. And if you choose not to go inside, then you won't get recess tomorrow, right? So that's that imposed consequence. We've set it up beforehand. The children know that, right? But it goes back to the rule of 3, right? You give what they should do, give what they should do again, that reminder with the consequence, and then you follow through, right? And so we say that to them, remember, our job is to go inside. If you choose not to come inside, then you won't have recess tomorrow. And usually with that one, they're like, yeah, I'm in, right? But there's a few times that we have to do that follow through, right? And the next day we don't get to have recess. And there's some sad eyes, there's some tears sometimes, and I sit with them and we talk about it, right? We have that learning moment that we've talked so much about. So we have to, my job, I know, it's to keep us safe, right? And I can't keep you safe if you're out on the playground. So we come inside but we go outside every day. Even if it's raining, even if it's snowing, we go outside. So we have these conversations with them, right? But there are imposed consequences that they know about. They've been taught about them. So in order for learning opportunities to be powerful, children need to feel the consequences of their choices, right? And this is kind of a difficult task for us to face as adults, but it's so important. We want to save them. We want to rescue them, right? But they have got to feel how it feels with those choices that they have made, right? Our bodies experience anger, disappointment, embarrassment, fright, and other painful emotions, right? Pain tells our body that something is out of sync. It's out of balance, right? So essentially, the body is saying, hey, pay attention, right? Make different choices. And if we don't ever let them do that, experience that, and feel that, they're not going to learn that. So physical pain and psychological pain work in the same manner, right? I remember I climbed the Y. I hiked the Y. I've done it 4 or 5 times. The last time I did it, I was trucking down, right? Going up is hard on my heart, but coming down is hard on my knees. And I remember kind of chucking down, right? Boom, boom, boom. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, I felt something in my knee. And I was sad, right? Because I had done something that I knew I probably shouldn't have. I probably should have taken it a little easier given my weight and given my age, but I didn't, right? So I had that physical pain, right? And psychological pain does the same thing. And they both send signals, right? And if we ignore those, we continue to make poor choices. We're still going to have pain. Sometimes we even project them onto others. We blame others, right? And so as an adult in a child's life, it's essential to teach them about their feelings that are associated with their choices. So we have that little moment together where we're talking it through. So as we allow the children to feel their feelings and not just hearing about ours through our rants, through our anger, right? About if you would have just listened to me, right? If we can let them feel their own feelings, right? Then they can learn how to be responsible for their actions. So Dr. Bailey has come up with an acronym that helps us. And I remember there was I think it was it called Family Circle? There was an old cartoon back in the day with newspapers. And I remember the mother saying, well, who did this? Right? And all the kids are like, not me, not me, not me. And there was a little ghost sitting there and it said, his name was not me, right? And so we tend to do this blame game to each other because we don't know what else to do, right? And so it says games. That's the acronym, games. So you give guidance, right, through limits, possible outcomes, right? So we don't say will, but this may. If you don't tie your shoes, you may fall down, right? So may instead of will. And we hope, and we talk about it, that the child can gain awareness and his own wisdom, right, as we give guidance to them. And we state the consequence up front, right? So going back to the rule of three, right, we state the expectation, we remind the expectation with the consequence, and then we follow through, right, with that consequence, which is where a lot of us struggle. It's like, oh, I'm just going to give them one more reminder. Sometimes we call it warnings. Warnings has a very negative effect, in intent, rather than a reminder has more of a positive intent. So we state that right up front, right? The A is we allow the child to experience the consequence of their choices, right? We don't give them excessive warnings or, like, okay, remember, you got to walk around the pool. She might fall down, right? We just tell them up front. It's slippery. If you're going to run, you may fall down, right? We use that word may. Or, sometimes we want to make the children feel bad. We think that's going to help them, right? But if you go back a couple of videos, we talk about that guilt, right? And how that doesn't help them learn how to be more responsible. So that's the G and the A. So we give guidance, we allow the child to experience, right, the consequence of their choices. And then M, we model self-control, right? And that is the hardest one for us because we want to go off the handle sometimes, right? But if we're modeling self-control, right, so we're calm and we're using our mouth for breathing instead of rah, 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 right? We're like, breathe through it, right? Because me going off the handle is not teaching them how they can calmly move through their emotions, right? So we model, and then we offer empathy, right? So that's the fourth one. We offer empathy to the child. We help them feel their feelings. I love that. We help them feel their feelings, not our feelings, right? And so I can tell you're disappointed. Man, your knees, you really fell down on that pool, and so we're going to talk things through. I can tell that hurts so badly. I can see it on your face. I can see it in your body, right? I can tell you're disappointed. And if we can also offer a choice, right? So because you didn't come home at 5 o'clock, right? We talked about the fact that you won't be able to go out and play tomorrow. But so right now you can either go play in your room or play in the family room, right? So we give them an option. We give them a choice within that empathy, right? So that they can start to see, right? They're going to feel those feelings. I don't get to go play. I'm going to go do this, but I have a choice within that, right? And then that last one, the S, is help the child reflect on new strategies, right? So are you interested in learning how to walk around the pool? Are you interested in learning how you can tell whether it's 5 o'clock? Are you, helping them have that little moment together, right? Let's learn some new strategies, because if we just keep doing the same thing, we're going to just keep getting the same outcome, right? So we've got to help them learn and open up to new strategies. So that's what our goal for this week is, my friends, is to see if we can GAMES, right? Give guidance through limits, allow the child to experience the consequences, model self-control as we're helping, and 4, offer empathy, right? And 5, new strategies, right? So good luck, and feel free to share. And come on back and look at some of the new ones, some of the old ones, that we've had. Sometimes it's just nice as I run into people in the grocery store and on campus, they're like, I just needed that, just a little reminder. And that's all this is, right? It's just a vlog to kind of help us remember and be reminded of those things that we know young children and even older children need. So have a great day. My mother would say, make it so. Make it a great day, everybody.